What's up, podcast? Before we start today's episode, I just want to make sure that you guys are following and subscribing all of our content at svaofamerica.com/AssistanceHQ. There you can find all of the latest and greatest content, podcasts, articles, and so much more. The link's going to be in the description, so make sure you don't ever miss a piece of content. It's a whole lot of assistance going on. And now, a moment from our sponsor. What's going on, podcast? We are back with another wonderful episode. It is Monday. We are doing a Monday episode. It's the same day, same drop. How are you guys doing today? We have an action-packed weekend filled. I am extremely excited for everything that I have going. We are going to be releasing William Schultz's podcast. Everything's going to be going I'm going to be doing a lot of promo. This is going to be a wonderful time. So I'm extremely excited to have everything going. And we have a lot of co-hosts coming this week. I'm going to be mixing it up. You may not get it, directly back-to-back in order. I may not do it like that. I may do a part one, a part two, a part three, then a part one again. So be on the lookout for a lot of things. You're going to have to piece these things together. I don't know how I think I might just go straight all the way down. But things are really starting to look up. We have finally surpassed 100 streams. And we are passing 100 streams so fast now that we are at 130 something. So shout out to all of you guys who listen to the podcast. Keep sharing it. Keep letting people know. Don't forget to visit us at svaofamerica.com/theramblings. Subscribe to the podcast and all of the great content that we have to offer. I promise you, you're not going to want to do anything else. So if you have to pause the podcast, hit the link in the bio in the description and head on your way there right now. Anyway, things have been starting to look up. I'm starting to put an executive team together. Clients are starting to come up, and I'm starting to do more research on angel investing so we can, be in position to look for fund. I am in great position to look for funding. I'm going to be redoing the business plan so that it meets the new expectations, because it's been some time, almost a year, roughly 6 to 8 months, something like that, because I did the plan officially ended in, let's just say, September, October. The plan was done. So now it's, now 5+ months later. So it's about 6-7 months in, something like that. It definitely a lot has changed since I made the plan, and it needs to be updated. So I'm extremely excited and happy for all of that. So I'm just extremely excited with all of the progress that we have really been making and having leaps and bounds and everything. So really be on the lookout for some extraordinary things to be happening this week. Today's podcast is really more or less a comparison. Why I love being an entrepreneur and why I want my reason for being on Wall Street, why I'm wanting to be on Wall Street. And it's because I feel like basketball, sports in general, in business are very similar, very close. You can either be a solo person, like in a solo sport. You could be in a team sport, like when you have a huge company. You could be in the big leagues, like if you're on Wall Street. You could be on the small leagues, Main Street, mom and pop shops, small entrepreneurs. You could be a coach. There's different business coaches. You could be a life coach. There's many different assets to people that work with people in sports. And there's many different avenues for people to take if they want to be in sports but necessarily can't be the celebrity. Just like if you would like to be a huge company person, but you necessarily can't be on the big leagues in Wall Street. So where does everybody else go? You might go play overseas. That might be equivalent to, say, trading or something. So why I love Wall Street and why I would love to be on Wall Street is because that is my big leagues. As an entrepreneur and aspiring business owner of this Angelos Assistance of America and the future of this company, that is my big leagues. That is me going from playing college and doing mediocre level stuff to being in the big leagues. Even G Leagues. Think about this. G League people make minimum $475,000 a year or something like that. So if your minimum contract is $475,000, that puts you in the 1%. And that's your G League. So if I have a business that makes me at least $1 million a year, that puts me in the 1%. And it's not necessarily about being in the 1%, it's about doing it for the love of the game. I do my business for the love of my business, just like people who are playing basketball or football or soccer or whatever sport that they're playing, they do it for the love of the game. And just like anything, Wall Street, like we said, is the big leagues. Small businesses that make a lot of money, they are like the G Leagues. You have minors, you have overseas, you have, the second squads. You have people that are good enough to be drafted onto the big leagues, but they don't get any burn. They're not making crazy amounts of money, but they're on the team. They're just there, you know. So you have, and now that the internet has come out, you have so many different options, and with the growth of basketball, you now have so many different options to play basketball and not actually have to be LeBron James or compete with somebody like LeBron James or Zion Williamson or Anthony Davis. You can be a coach. You can be a dribbling coach, a shooting coach. You may not be able to do all of the things in basketball combined, but you may be good at one thing. So you can be a skills coach, meaning you can teach dribbling and things like that. You could teach defense. You could teach shooting. You could teach footwork. You could teach the working out. You can't necessarily teach athleticism, but you can work people out so that they, have a much higher athletic capability than what they did before. You could be the stretch coach. You could actually be a team coach. Like you could be like the film guy. You could be like Eric Spoelstra. You know what? I'm going to go and be the film person and then go all the way up and be the head coach. You could try to be part of the back office. There are so many different ways to be part of a team or a sport without actually being involved in the literal sport in and of itself. Just like there are so many ways you can get involved with doing business and not actually be involved in the business aspects of Wall Street in and of itself. Just like you can be a consultant, you can be an e-commerce person, you could be a flipper, you could be someone who's just self-employed who works for themselves, like an independent contractor. You can sell your own phones, you can resell phones, you can, have a small mom and pop business. So what you choose to do, and because of the internet, because of the growth of business, which has now expanded onto things like the internet, it's extremely similar. You're going to have to start understanding that you have to put the same work ethic in that LeBron James would put in, just in a completely different area. You can't expect to look at a Forex sheet, an accounting sheet, or a stock sheet and immediately understand how this can make you money. The value of a basketball is absolutely worthless to you. You might say, oh, that basketball costs like $20. I'm not going to pay more than $20 for this basketball. LeBron James might say, I will pay you $100 for this basketball. Why? Because I can make $100,000 off of this basketball. Basketball pays LeBron James thousands of dollars every day, tens of thousands of dollars every day. It's the reality of it. Some people, they make their tens of thousands of dollars every day from banking, or from stocks, or from selling houses. So what is your reasons for people to give you money? In sports, it is their athletic capabilities. And we can take sports all the way down to like even chess or dancing. So it doesn't necessarily matter. But when people think of being famous or a celebrity, they really relatively understand the difficulties and the hard work of it. However, people don't necessarily seem to understand that you have to put that same work ethic in if you want to be a successful entrepreneur or a successful business owner, successful CEO. You have to have that same work ethic. Do you think there's a huge difference in work ethic between someone like LeBron James and someone like Gary Vaynerchuk? No. Similar hustle. That's why I love and wanted to be in Wall Street so much. Of course, everybody has their dreams of going to being in the NFL or NBA or big league, any major league sports. And so did I. But you quickly realize, that route's not for me. That is not for me. However, this business, my big leagues, I can do this. I can't do what LeBron James does. I can't. However, I can read a business statement. I can make good, smart decisions about being a competent CEO, and I have wonderful ideas. And I have the the means of and work ethic and execution to follow through with it. So just unlike sports where, I have to be good in a certain amount of time, in business, I'm not constrained to that time. I don't have to have been good at 16, 17, and 18 to have been looked at for, the future. I can be 28, 29, 30, and just now start getting looks. And if I start earlier, I can start getting looks earlier, and I can start making moves earlier. Or say it takes me a little bit longer. I now have that baseline of outing my 5 years. Like, it's ridiculous. That's really why I like it. There's no window of opportunity. There's no retiring issues. I don't have to cap out at 35, 36, 37 and like, oh, you're too old to do this. No, people, the Walmart group of people are all in like their 60s and 70s. You think those shareholders are anything less than like 55? I mean, obviously regular stock shareholders, but I mean like the people that are in the board meetings. Do you think the board members are younger than like 55? Really? Probably not. I don't know the board members, but I'm pretty sure they're not really under the age of 55. So we have to change, or at least differentiate and specify the difference between hard and difficult, because they're subjective. They're hard and difficult are subjective to who you're talking to. I didn't mean to say it like that the first time. Ignore that. Hard and difficult mean the same thing. I don't know why I said we have to differentiate between both. Lost that. Anyway, hard and difficult are subjective. Example, I can lift a 50-pound weight, no problem, all day, every day. Someone else cannot. They might say, you know what? Oh, that's hard. Or I can do push-ups. No problem. There are a lot of people out there that can't do a push-up because they can't support themselves to push up. So a push-up for them would be difficult. If you told someone who couldn't do one push-up to do 10 push-ups, that's going to be a challenging task. You might, in fact, say that you can make that a goal. That is a goal. One person who can't do a single push-up because they can't push themselves up. And I imagine it just feels like the same when you do too many push-ups and you're like, dang, I can't get this last push-up. I assume that's how people feel who can't do a push-up on the first push-up. It's just like, I can't do this. You could then say, you know what, it's a goal for you to be able to do 10 push-ups. However, for someone like me doing 10 push-ups, I can do that right now and still not miss a beat for the podcast. So hard and difficult mean two different things. Dunking is something that I find kind of hard. I can do it. Can I dunk? Yes, I can. I need to make sure I get a full stretch in and everything first, but it's something that can be done and has been done. But it's pretty difficult for me. Something that's not difficult, making a spreadsheet. Some people would get lost in their mind making spreadsheets on Google or Excel. Me, I do it no problem. So it's not about it being hard or difficult. It's about the subjectivity of it being hard or difficult. So if you're good at it, or if you know what you're doing, chances are it's not hard or not difficult. So whatever you do, you're not going to consider hard or difficult because you're up to the task, even if it gets a little challenging. It might be challenging. There might be a challenge, but it's not going to be difficult. It's subjective. So you have to separate the difference in what you find difficult and hard. Because if it's hard and difficult for you, do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Then work for it and then get better at it so it doesn't become hard and difficult. However, if it's something that you don't enjoy, it's going to maintain being hard and difficult, which is why people are saying sometimes life is hard because things happen. You have to just find your gift, what makes you happy. Because you can't make $1 million playing basketball, but you can make $1 million baking cookies. I can't make $1 million baking cookies. I can make $1 million running whatever business I might run, but I can't make cookies and make $1 million from it. Other people can. I may not even be able to make $1 million from flipping things. Like, I may only be able to flip a couple of $1,000s worth of stuff. Other people have made millions of dollars from flipping. Pawn shops literally do that. Pawn shops are like big flip shops. Goodwill. People literally bring their stuff and then Goodwill just sells it. So you have to find what you're good at. And from there, then you can go to the big leagues. I'm choosing Wall Street. That's my big leagues. If you're a cook, you might try to be in a 5-star restaurant. If you're a rock climber, you might try to climb a high mountain. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, your big leagues is Wall Street. Hey Ramblers, before you go, make sure you're following us on social media at Assistance HQ across the board for all content and exclusives. And for an even more personal touch, subscribe to our weekly newsletter with the link in the description.